Let's take a look at a few more examples. Now, before we begin, a small reminder that in these examples, just like the previous lesson, I am not following many rules that I've been teaching you so far. If I were to follow each single rule, this would be a very complex system of examples and it would take forever. And I've tried to make this learning program as short as possible. It still is very long, and there's so many things and details and structures and systems to cover that I just could not afford to make it so much longer. Using the rules is easy, and you will be able to use them on your own, and that's what you are going to have to do. I explained them in detail, and if you were paying attention, then you will have absolutely no problem incorporating those rules on your own into your trading. So yes, these examples that we are looking at, they are purely indicator structures that we are looking for so that you get yourself familiar with what you must be looking for. And remember, it is preferable that you pause the video as many times as you'd like and draw those structures and shapes of stochastic and MACD into your notes. Those are going to be the hugest reminders and examples for you in the future when you will start trading with money. All right, so here we have another day. It's actually yesterday, and let's take a look what happened. So this is the pre-market at 8 o'clock in the morning. The pre-market has opened. We had some move up, and then a strange looking slow side move-ish activity up until the market opening, which was at 9 o'clock right here. Now, once again, every market opens at different time, and the American market opens at the American time. So if you want to trade the US market, then there's going to be a different time. I'm always showing examples in the DAX, the German indices that I mostly trade myself. And I do that for the purposes of consistency, so you always see the same thing and you're not confused too much. All right, so back to work. Now let's see if we have any signals around here, and yes, we do. This is the wave beyond the trigger, which looks quite okay, and the stairs in stochastic are also quite nice. This peak, a lower peak, lower peak, lower peak, lower peak. So this is quite a nice structure. However, this is the pre-market, and I never recommend trading pre-market. And if you have the market that you see just from the market opening, that's fine. And I only trade an open market. I never trade at night, and I never trade the pre-market. I like to trade in the time periods when there is the most volume and the most power in the market, which is the market opening time and the whole trading day. Now let's see what happens after the market opens. So we can see a small convergence here into climbing, which is quite a nice thing, but we quite frankly don't care. Now let's see what happens further, and there we have a signal. Let me go one candle back. So we have our first signal. It is a very tiny signal, a very tiny wave above the trigger. However, it is still okay to take it. Now there is one problem with this whole picture right here. And the problem is that this MACD, at this point, it is a lot lower than our previous top MACD wave. And that means that this signal might be a false one, and it might be a just a formation for a divergency, because the wave here in the price, it is a little bit higher than these here. However, in the MACD, we are a lot lower, so we have a potential for forming a divergency. Now, these signals do work sometimes. However, if you do take something like this, which I do most of the time, but if I see that it goes against me right away, I leave it very quickly. My risk is super small, and if I try to do something like that, I would never risk too much. If we look at the stochastic, then we can see some kind of stairs up. So these two peaks, and then finally this small one here is a hook above the neutral zone, which looks okay. It is quite small, but these signals do tend to work, and they are worth your while. So it is worth to try them. If they don't work, just leave them very quickly. Now, and it does not work. So as you can see, the green arrow right here symbolizes our entry. So once again, as we look at the bars here, This is our signal candle, and this one is our entry candle. So the entry is in the beginning of this candle right here. And our stop is below here, which is 7 points below, which is still quite a lot, to be honest, but it was okay to try, and the only logical place to put our stop was, the closest place was the previous bottom wave in the price, which is very small, but again, details, and you can use this kind of a super small bottom wave as your stop guide, a place to put your stop. Now, as we can see that as we enter, it moves against us right away, and that's what I mean by if it moves against you right away, just forget it and just leave it. And so I did. I left it in the beginning of this candle, and we've taken a loss of 5 points, which is okay. I did not wait for the stop. As you can see, the stop was 7 points, which for this kind of a scenario might be a little bit too much, because just of what I described in the beginning, how risky it all looks, and that the MACD is quite a lot lower than the previous top wave. So the general structure is not very nice. But the stop was 7 points, so there's nothing to do, and we had to have it at 7 points in this scenario. However, as the market moves against us right away, I leave it. I leave it at the beginning of the next candle with a loss of 5 points. So once again, I did not wait for the stop. Now let's see what happens next. And next, boom, it moves quite powerfully against us. So we did the absolutely correct thing to leave the trade there. Now let's see and find ourselves the next signal to take. Now here is something that I really would like to discuss with you. Here, as you can see, we have a nice trend forming downwards, so a really nice downtrend. However, there is some kind of a signal in MACD going down, and you could say that this is the structure that we are looking for, but it's not. And let me explain why. So in stochastic, let's first talk about the stochastic. Stochastic looks great. We have those stairs going down. So this peak, then the lower peak, and then the lower peak. So it looks fantastic for our signal of going, opening a short position and going into falling prices. However, this here, we could interpret it as a signal, so a wave above or beyond the trigger, as you might know at this point, I hope. This kind of a signal is a bad signal. Why? Because the MACD line pierces and goes through the trigger. And these kinds of signals you will see very often, and some of them might work, but statistically, these signals have a very good chance of not working. And that's why if you see that the MACD has gone through the trigger line, at least even a little bit, even if it was slightly on top of trigger, this signal is no good. Remember that. This is extremely important, and write this down with huge letters in your notes, that if at the time of the signal the MACD line is going through the trigger line, piercing it, no good. Forget about this kind of a signal. So this is the reason why I made this red circle around it for you to see exactly what I'm talking about. Now let's see if it worked. And no, it did not work. So great. It is a fantastic thing that we did not take this signal right here, which is a bad signal. Now let's go ahead and try and find ourselves the next signal. So as you can see here, there is absolutely nothing in the MACD. We just had a really powerful spike going up. So a top spike, nothing really interesting, no signal, no nothing. So let's keep watching. And there we go. As you can see here, we are moving down. So perhaps after the spike, we are turning back into a falling trend. And here is our signal. So here, as you can see, these two candles, this is the first candle, the second candle, and they are the correlating bars in the MACD are right here. And as you can see, they are at the same exact precise level. So there is no signal yet. And unfortunately, it's quite low, but this is the way the MACD works, and that's absolutely fine. Remember, you have to pay attention to these bars in the MACD next to the zero line. And this one here, which is larger than the previous one finally, is going to be our signal candle. And as it finishes at the beginning of the next candle, we will enter. So this is our signal candle. And finally, the next one is our entry candle. and right here we enter into falling prices. So we open a short position. And right here, our stop is quite large. It is 11 points. Now, what does this mean? This means that our take profit is going to be larger as well. So remember, we are using 1-to-3 ratio. So 11 times 3 is going to be 33 points. So our take profit is going to be below here in 33 points after our entry. And here is our stop. It's once again a technical stop, not a fixed one. So it is easy to understand. And let's see what happens. Oh, so far everything is great and we are having some nice profit. And as you can see, these small waves here are converging and there is absolutely nothing to worry about in terms of the trend strength in the MACD so far at all. However, in stochastic, we can see that perhaps we are slowing down just a little bit if we compare those bottom peaks. This is a little bit higher, and finally this one is even higher. So we do have some stochastic stairs going up already, and this might keep us busy and keep our attention on this trade and make sure we don't miss something very important in MACD, which is our signal giver. Let's see what happens next. Not very nice. Not very nice. But still, this is just a wave, and once again, crossover means nothing. It can be just a part of a downtrend. So a crossover in this kind of a situation, we do not care about in the MACD. Now let's see what happens next. And there we go. So here we see the next signal in MACD. So this is the next signal into climbing prices. So this is a signal against our trend. And this one we cannot ignore, and as you can see in stochastic, we are building the next stair going up, and as you can see, it's going to be in a general structure together with these three peaks that we spoke about previously, and this is the fourth one. So this is a perfect stochastic structure for turning the trend. And of course, since we were into falling prices since this position right here, we will have to close our short position at the end of this candle, and in the beginning of the next one, which is our entry candle, we will enter into climbing prices. So we will open a long position. So remember, look at the bars. This one is almost at the zero line, then the next one is larger. So this is already our signal candle, and the next one is our entry candle. And of course, our stop is going to be here. It's going to be quite a short one, 6 points. And our take profit is going to be right here where the green arrow is. And that one is going to be 18 points. So 6 times 3, our take profit is calculated at 18 points. Now let's see what happens. Moving up, a little bit down, but still fine. The stairs are looking great. Until this moment, everything is looking just fine, and the MACD is on tracks, going up, so everything is great. Then going down a little bit, but still, yes, it's not nice. However, there is still absolutely nothing. So here we had our real nice stairs going up in stochastic, and here we are going lower than most of these stairs, but this means nothing just yet. This might be and probably is just part of a climbing trend. It is a very small one and a really small and slow climbing trend. However, it is a climbing trend, and you must make sure that you see that. Now, as you can see, our take profit is here, so we needed a few more points, like 3 points, to get to our take profit, but we didn't, and we are moving down. But let's see if we get to the take profit after all. And yes, with this small blimp, we take our take profit and we make a nice trade for plus of 18 points. Fantastic. So nothing to worry about anymore. We've taken our profit automatically, and now all we have to do is look for the next signal. And here we can see the next signal into climbing, and actually one more here, which is followed. And here you can see the next signal into climbing. However, as you can remember, we were into climbing prices already, and we've just taken our profit right here. So I would not enter into climbing back into the same trend yet again. This, in my opinion, is a little bit irrational, and we've taken all we wanted from this up move. Now we really would like to find ourselves a signal in the opposite direction or wait for something nicer. So when you see something like this, I prefer to, it is actually quite subjective, but I really like to take just one trade and one take profit from one move. So from one trend, meaning the one trend, and then I'm looking for a signal in the opposite direction. So these signals right here, I would ignore. But if we were to enter into one of these, we would quite quickly be stopped out and we would lose 5-10 points. That's fine, that's okay, that's all right. And I do not expect you to make the correct decisions just like I do. I have years of experience. And if you take these kinds of signals as well, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Having a few negative trades per day, that's absolutely acceptable. I think you agree. Now, let's see, as I've said, a nice entry into falling. Let's see if we find one. And yes, we do. Here is our signal candle, and here is our entry candle. So I think it is quite obvious. The stochastic is looking quite nicely. Here is a peak. There are 3 peaks that can be, well, here is a peak. Here are a few peaks lower than the previous peak, and now this one is even below the neutral zone, which is fantastic. And as you can see, once again, with the bars in the MACD near the zero line, we have this one is larger than the one before, so it confirms that there is a wave, in fact, below the trigger in MACD, and these bars are extremely helpful. And we enter at the beginning of the next candle right here. Now, I've placed the stop at the previous peak, not this one, simply because it is way too small. So I've placed it here. And the stop will be at 8 points. So only logical that our take profit is going to be 24 points. So 8 times 3 is going to be 24 points. We need to move down for our take profit to automatically close our trade. And let's see what happens. So as you can see here, we are slightly moving down. Once again, today, this day that we are looking at right now is quite a difficult day because it is slow, and for the indicators, the slow days can be quite harsh. And that's why I really wanted to show you this precise day. The structures of the indicators are quite the same, but the market isn't always following the signal powerfully and nicely as we would love to see. So this is actually the realistic conditions of the market, and it's actually a real market, as I've said many times before. This market, it happened yesterday. So, and as we can see, so it's not moving very quickly in our favor, but we are still happy since it did move at least a little bit, and we have around, let's see, around 10 points in profit. So as we can see here, the MACD is crossing above the trigger, but once again, I'll keep reminding you that the crossovers mean nothing, and especially in this kind of situation when we are looking for a signal in the opposite direction for our exit. The crossover only can be used if the market moves against us right away after our entry. That's the only place I would ever use a crossover for any kind of a trading decision. All right, let's continue seeing what happens. So the stochastic was very nice. It was quite hectic and slow and small, but it still is giving us this perfect, beautiful line going down these stairs, as I call them. And this is what you should be looking for in stochastic. This is absolutely beautiful. Now let's see what happens. And as we can see here, there is still nothing in MACD. These bars are all the same size. Now the stochastic, yes, there is a hook in the green zone, which is nasty, but quite honestly, I would still do nothing. Let's see what happens next. And it keeps moving against us a little bit. Now it goes down and we are finally happy, really happy, really happy. And as you can see here is our take profit. So we are about a few points away from the take profit. And please never close your trade when it's 2-3 points away from your take profit, and you just have no patience but to close it because you're afraid that it's gonna move away and you will lose that chance to take the profit that you could have taken. Yes, there will be situations where the market will move away. It will come to your take profit and it will be 1 point away, and then it's gonna move against you, and maybe you will take a minus, a negative trade in the end. And that is okay. It's not as bad as closing the trades for no reason. When you will start closing the trades for no reason, your statistics break. Your system breaks. Everything falls apart, and sooner or later you will be lost and you will not know what to do, and you will not know how to adjust your system because there will be no system, and so on and so forth. But we'll talk about this more in detail in chapter 12. All right, let's continue. Let's see what happens. So we are a few points away from our take profit. We see that it doesn't quite come down to close the trade automatically into profit, and now it starts moving against us. And once again we have a crossover, but the waves in the MACD, they're converging and they are lower than the one before, so is in the price, so it's a convergency and everything looks just fine. There's nothing yet to worry about, and there is no signal in the opposite direction. So our trade is safe. Let's see what happens further. And here, this is a nasty position, because here we can see that there is a slight bend in the MACD, so we could say that this is a super slight wave above the trigger. And if you don't see it, please pause the video right now and make sure you understand what I mean in terms of these bars right here, because this one is smaller than the one before. This one is the same level, now this one is finally larger than the one before. So we do have a wave, a bend above the trigger, and it is quite powerful going against us. And the same thing in stochastic, just like the one before that we ignored. This one is quite powerful, and as you can see, we had a really nice income of about 20 points, and now we have an income of 5 left. So this is the same as we were talking about before, that you could have taken 20 points and you didn't have to wait extra few points until you take profit. And here you would have gotten lucky if you would have closed the trade. But again, please never do something like this. Here, leaving the trade here and not taking the 20 points and only taking the 5 points profit as I did is absolutely okay. And in the long run, you will benefit from systematic work like that. This is the main task of yours as a professional trader. Make sure that your work is systematic. And this, in certain situations, the systematic work is less profitable, obviously, just like this example right here. However, in the long run, you will benefit from it extremely. Now, as you can see, I've closed this trade here. I don't see this as a really nice climbing signal, especially after this kind of a move. I'm seeing this as a more of an example of a wave right here, which we ignored because there wasn't really any kind of a signal and the bars were all almost even. Here, there was a lot more power of going against us, and there was finally some kind of a wave above the trigger, so I would just close the trade, but I would not enter into climbing. So here we took plus 5 points, which is still a plus, and a profit is always great. Any size of the profit is fantastic. Now let's see what happens next. And yes, it keeps moving up. However, we did not take it, we did not believe in it, and that is okay. If you make ever a trading decision and it turns out to be a good one or a bad one, remember, leave the emotion out of this work. If you did not take a trade because you did not believe in it and it went and worked for 100 points and you did not take those 100 points, don't be angry. I know you will be angry, but this is a huge mistake of many traders. They get pissed, and that leads them to making many mistakes, including breaking their system, not following their statistics, and so on and so forth. I've been there, I've done that, I know what it is, and trust me, it becomes very expensive. Nowadays, if I don't believe in a signal and I don't enter it and it works, I'm fine, I'm neutral, I don't care. Sometimes I might get a little bit agitated, but when I do, I feel that I'm getting angry, I will just switch off the computer and I'll go do something else. All right, let's try find the next signal. And here, as you can see, in the stochastic, we have those stairs down. This one is the lowest peak, and we do have some kind of stairs going down lower and lower, so there is a weakness in stochastic that we could use to our advantage. However, in MACD, once again, this is the example of a bad signal. And this signal is bad because just like the previous one that I showed you, the bad one, where the MACD goes through the trigger line, and this is no good. So forget about taking signals like these. Let's keep on moving. And yes, and actually this signal did not work either. So we are quite happy that we did not take that signal. Let's find ourselves the next one. And here is our next signal. Now, as you can see here, there is a top MACD wave, then this is the next one. And as you can see, the correlating waves in the price, there is some kind of a divergency. Let's see if it's 50%. Well, it's about 65% divergency, which is still okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it still is a sign of a weakness in the MACD for this particular trend. And as you can see, it continues, but not for too long. And we see that this wave in MACD is the same height as the previous one. So the weakness is still there, and it is lower than the maximum, the highest top wave in this structure altogether. So we can expect a nice signal into falling the wave beyond the trigger for our entry into falling for our opening of our short position. And let's see what the stochastic says. And this is a fantastic looking hook beyond the neutral zone that I love to see. So this is our, look at the bars. So you see that this one is larger than the one before. So this is our signal bar, the signal candle, and the next one is our entry. And fantastic, this is where we enter. And our stop is going to be 8 points. This is the stop that I'm using here, because this one is far too close. It's only 2-3 points, and this kind of a market situation, when the market is moving and there is some power and fuel in the market, I prefer to give it at least a little bit more room. With this kind of indicator trading, pure indicator trading that we're looking at right now, I use primarily technical stops. And the fixed stops are I use mostly with other trading systems, which we'll start learning beginning with chapter 7. Okay, so let's see. We have 8 point stop, and our take profit therefore is how many points? Correct, 24 points. Let's see what happens with this trade. It goes against us right away a little bit. However, the MACD is still fine. Stochastic looks okay. And here is our take profit level, 24 points below. And there we go. And here is actually another great looking signal into falling. This is our signal. The beginning of this candle is our entry. And it would be okay to take either one, this one, or actually even this one. This is also a signal, and this is the entry, and or this one. So 3 signals in one place. This is quite nice. And let's see how it works. And it works just fantastically. And here our take profit has been taken, and we have taken plus 24 points. What happens afterwards if it moves down 200 more points? We don't care. We've taken our profit. We are already made quite a few points today. So if it moves more, so be it. Let's just watch it and enjoy the view. And yes, it moves even, so it moves 50 more points. So we could have taken 74 instead of 24, but never think like this. This is thinking, and we could not have known that this move will be 74 or 76 or whatever points. We only have our statistics and our system 1-to-3 ratio. Finito. This is all that we need to know, and this is all that we need to use. Remember, as systematic as possible. And now, don't beat yourself over seeing a picture like this that you could have taken 74 points, so 3 times as much. You could not have known this, and therefore this is not your mistake. This is absolutely fine. Be happy with your profitable trade of 1-to-3 ratio and forget about it. Just enjoy the view. Let's see what happens next. Still no signal moving up, however, quite direct and straight lines, so absolutely nothing to see. Here, still nothing. Well, some kind of a hook, beautiful hook going down in stochastic. However, MACD is going parallel to the 0 line. So absolutely nothing to see, nothing nice. And here you can see some kind of a super tiny wave above the trigger. There is absolutely nothing in stochastic, so forget about it. All right, here is our nicer signal into falling, as you can see in the MACD. And here are our MACD bars right here. And yes, they do confirm that this is a signal candle and this is our entry candle. However, I still have taken it, and I should not have taken it because of stochastic. As you can see here, the stochastic has absolutely no structure. There is absolutely nothing. There is just a slightly broken line. So only MACD shows us a possibility for an entry. And yes, MACD is more important. You're right if you just thought that. However, this is a very questionable entry. And if you do this, it is okay simply because MACD is more important, and you are right. MACD is more important. However, if you do something like this, don't have too huge of an expectation, and if you are stopped out, that is absolutely okay. So as we can see here, we have entered at the position of 13,142, and our stop is 7 points. So again, technical stop, and it is pulled here even before the MACD can cross back over. So we've taken a loss of 7 points, and the take profit that we wanted was 21 points, so 7 times 3, but it's nowhere to be seen, and we were just stopped out, and that's okay. Let's find ourselves the next signal. And as you can see here, now this position here was confusing in terms of stochastic. However, when we see this structure forming all together, we will see really nice stairs up in stochastic. Here is a peak, here is some kind of a strange broken, but still a peak, and here is a peak. So we have stairs up. Now all we need is a signal in MACD. And let's make it a little bit larger so that you can see. And here, this is a real example from real life trading. This is extremely difficult to see, and if you don't understand it right now, it's okay. I'll just show it to you, but don't bother drawing this or trying to understand. If you don't see it right now, it is okay. It's a little bit advanced. It's a super early entry into a super nice signal, but this you can learn as you go, as you practice with indicators and trading on your own. Here you can see that we are having a wave above the trigger. It does not go through. As I've said before, here is a really nice structure in stochastic with stairs going up, and here you can see a wave above the trigger. You can see the beginning of the wave here. It goes to the trigger here, and now it's going away from the trigger. And here the bars will help us very much to identify our signal. As you can see, there are no bars around this location. They're almost at the zero. And now the first bar is this one that you can actually see. Pause the video if you need, but the bar is there. It's difficult to see it, and these are super tiny details that will give you a hint of what you should do. But this kind of a trading decision is complicated. I know that it's difficult to see it, and you will learn it, but this kind of stuff you will learn just by practicing and practicing and practicing and spending a lot of time on practice material and demo account trading and so on and so forth that I will describe a little bit later. So now this is our entry, the beginning of this candle. This is our stop, which is quite small. The stop is also 7 points. And our take profit is 21 points, which is right here. And let's see how it works out. And there is actually another signal that is a lot easier to see right here. And the stochastic once again confirms our structure of going up. So this is a later signal into the climbing trend. And this one is the super early one, the one that the professional would take. Somebody like me, this is something that this is the position from which I would be already into climbing if I were to use purely indicator trading. So let's see what happens. And fantastic. So we make another 21 points. And we are very, very happy to see that work. So once again, afterwards, after our take profit is taken, we shouldn't care about how much further it's going to go up. If it goes another 100 points, whatever, we still made a nice profit. So let me make it smaller and let's see. Yeah, so right here you can see our signal. This is our signal and this is our entry. I hope that you can see it. It is very, very tiny, but it is there. Those details, God, I love those details. And here is our wave above the trigger altogether. This one is quite easy to see. Now you could have taken this entry actually. This here is also an entry into climbing prices. But the stop would have had to be a lot longer. The stop would still have to be technical and it would have to be here. And it would be at least 5 points larger. And that means that our take profit would have been around here. And these are the kinds of details that in trading can become frustrating and difficult, but these kinds of aspects you will master through practice, believe me. As long as you spend a lot of time practicing this stuff, practicing those signals, seeing, identifying, getting used to them and trading them, but not with money. Never trade this with money in the beginning. Trade this only with demo. Now, so yes, our take profit has been taken here. Let's see what happens afterwards. It moves down and we are actually quite happy that it worked this way. Now here, as you can see, there was some kind of maybe a signal formation. However, if we look at the bars, there was no signal confirmation, but sometimes you might actually confuse one of these spots for a signal, especially when the market is working and it's happening real time, then it might have showed you a signal. However, if you would have waited for a candle to close, then there would be no signal. As you can see here, the stochastic also gave us some kind of a hook going down, but thankfully, thanks to these bars, I did nothing. So let's find our next signal. And here, as you can see, there was also some kind of a signal forming for climbing, but thanks to the bars, we did absolutely nothing. So let's remove that. Let's move on, and here we have our next some kind of a signal. However, once again, pay attention and see that the MACD is going through that trigger, and we don't want these kinds of signals. Plus, as you can see, the structure in stochastic, it looks more for falling these stairs down than for climbing. So this signal here, I wouldn't take it. But it is a great example because it actually worked, as you can see. Well, there is nothing you can do about it, and unfortunately these things happen. Sometimes we don't take a signal and it actually works, and that's okay. That's part of our job. Don't worry about it. All right, let's find ourselves the next signal. And here is some kind of a signal for falling. However, the MACD still goes a little bit through the trigger. And look at the stochastic. This looks more for climbing than for falling. And please pause the video and draw this kind of a structure as a bad signal. Now, let's remove these. And let's find ourselves something nicer. So once again, here, there is no structure for falling in stochastic, absolutely no structure. And the MACD is some kind of a wave beyond the trigger, but it still goes through the trigger. As you can see, the market is almost completely dead, very slow. Something like this, I wouldn't take. Still no signal, still slowly climbing. Something in stochastic looks okay, but absolutely nothing in the MACD. It's just a parallel line, no signal whatsoever, so forget about it. And look at the market itself, it's just dead. And here, I did mark a few entries. Let me increase the size and you'll see what I mean. Here we do have some kind of a nicer structure for falling in stochastic. It's not perfect, but it is still doable. As you can see, here is our entry signal, here is our stop, As you can see, the wave beyond the trigger, it does not go through the trigger, so it looks okay. It's difficult to see, but you have to get used to the real market circumstances. So this is something that you will see on a daily basis. I know it's hard to see, but please pause the video if you need. But this is something that you should be looking out for as well. Now our stop is right here. The size is incredibly small, 3-point stop, 9-point take profit, and you can see how far the 9 points looks in this chart. That means that the market is really slow. Pretty much it's an evening. It's already 7:30 p.m. So maybe the traders are not trading anymore and the market is just simply starting to slow down already for the night. And as you can see, this signal did not work, and I've closed it here manually with -2 points. So I did not wait for the stop. I could see this hook and stochastic of going up, and it was just nasty, and I did not like what I saw here. So even though I tried this signal, it was okay. The risk was very small, 3 points. So sometimes these works, and sometimes these signals can actually work and produce the result of 30, 50, 100 points. Yes, sometimes, but very, very seldomly, and you don't have to expect that, but a try can still be a try. So here we've closed our trade with -2 points because of the stochastic hook and the general death of the market picture. All right, let's find ourselves another signal. And here we have a slightly nicer entry into climbing. As you can see here, this is our signal, and this is our entry in the MACD, the wave above the trigger. And so we have also this hook in stochastic and some kind of stairs going up. And this is quite nice. However, the market is again very, very slow, and our stop is 1 point. Believe it or not, it's only 1 point. So our take profit is 3 points, and this is here. Sometimes in the beginning of the day you saw this kind of a distance, and that was 15 points. And right now this is just 3 points. So I still took it, I still tried it. It's the end of the day, it's 8:30 p.m. already, and it did not make it to the take profit, and it actually stopped me out with -1 point. So this was the last trade I did on this day. And in total, we had 9 trades, 4 were negative, 5 were into plus, and in total, we made 66 points into profit. So this is a fantastic result for a difficult, slow day like this, and this is what the indicators can produce even with a simple single signal system. So you're just looking for one signal in MACD and one signal in stochastic, and you combine them into the structures, and you enter into either climbing or falling, so you open either a short or a long position. And in this kind of a case, when we had 9 trades, 66 points plus, when I'm trading DAX, each trade costs me 1 point as a commission. So it's -9 points, and in total we've made 66 points total of profit, -9 points for commissions and such. The total amount of profit is 57 points. And trust me, if you can make 57 points on a slow market, on a slow day like this, in a slow market, you are gonna be very, very, very happy. Now, if you're trading one full future, as I've said before, and again, to trade one full future with DAX, for example, with this market, you need around $17,000 in your trading depot. I know that maybe you're not gonna start with this kind of money, and I do not recommend to start with so much money. But you will, if you do everything correctly and you follow the rules and the structures that I'm teaching in this learning program, you will very quickly get to $17,000, and you'll be able to trade one full future. And that means that 1 point of profit and of course 1 point of loss will be around $27. So that means that for today, for the 12-hour day, we traded from 9 o'clock, the market opening, until 9 o'clock, which is the evening, and the market wasn't closed yet, but we just stopped trading because of the general picture and that the market was completely slow and uninteresting. In those 12 hours that we've traded, we've made 57 points, and that with one full future, you would have made $1,500. So I think that's not a bad result. So if you think about it, then you would have made 10% income from your trading depot in one day. Now this isn't as easy as it looks. It will be quite challenging, and please, after understanding these structures, don't rush to making money too quickly, because in the next chapter we'll start talking about the tools and details that will help you pick out and filter out even better these signals, and you will be amazed at how well those next systems work in combination with the indicator system. And by the end of chapter 14, so by the end of this learning program, you'll be fascinated how you'll be able to predict pretty much almost every market movement. Right now we are just talking about basic indicators, and you can see already that even basic indicators on a slow day, they can produce fantastic results. 57 points per day. This is a really crazy result. All right, don't forget about the test. Enjoy your homework, and I'll see you in the next lesson where we will talk about the next indicator system.